I found out my mom's dirty little secret, and I don't know if I should confront her or not. Trigger warning: child abuse, neglect. Throwaway account, since no one in the family knows the news, and I'm a first time poster. I, 30 female, was gifted a 23andMe over the holidays last year while away out of town on a family Christmas get together. Like true fashion, everything got thrown into the bags to travel back home with, and when we got home, it was put aside. Come springtime, I came across it and decided, what the heck? I would just try and see my heritage and nationalities. I was raised Irish and Italian, main nationalities between both parents, and was curious on the details. Little backstory: I am one of two children, and we are 18 months apart. My sister, we'll call her Laura, 29, is a blonde haired, blue eyed beauty, identical to my dad. Also, blue eyes and blonde hair. I, on the other hand, had dark hair and dark eyes, identical to my mom. My sister and I have always looked, acted, and been so different to the point where there was a joke or a comment made that one of us was adopted. We would brush it off and ignore it. But then, as I got older, I started seeing the differences, not just in our appearances, but how we were treated and disciplined differently. My dad and I always butted heads and had issues with each other as far as respect. A few examples. My sister and I shared a car for a short time when we were teenagers. We got it because I was taking extra high school credit at the local elementary in the mornings before my high school classes started to pursue my teaching career, and I needed my own transportation to and from school. Something happened to the car while she was driving. The engine blew up, one thing or another. My dad co signed to get my sister a new car. He made me pay for it to be fixed and refused to co sign for me a new car. My birthday is in winter, my sister's is in spring. We went to Disney multiple times for her to celebrate her birthday with the princesses at the Cinderella Castle. He planned almost an annual snowmobile trip and was gone on mine. Would even call me on the wrong day or forget to contact me altogether. Speaking of trips, there are several trips that he would plan for the family, but wouldn't let me come with them. He would tell me it's too late for me to give work notice or plan a blackout week after I told him I wouldn't be able to attend. His response was maybe you could tag along next one. He has called me a bitch to my face on multiple occasions, would say how fucked up I was in the head. He physically disciplined me with multiple things around the house and would ask me to get him a belt and bring it to him type 5. Never once did that to my sister. Anyways, just to name a few examples. So I had some thoughts over the year. Maybe that's why he treated me so different. Maybe I was adopted or not his. I questioned it for so long that I was scared to do it at first, but after a while I said, screw it, and did it. Super simple. Spit in the tube, mail it, wait for the results. I honestly forgot about it. But one day there was a notification with my results were ready. Open it up to find the heritage results showed from the Middle East, Jewish to be exact. I quickly realized the severity of what I was looking at, but was in denial. I immediately went online and purchased an ancestry kit because any program was going to show me my family tree I was looking for. It was that. 2 days later, it arrived at my front door thanks to Amazon Prime. Submitted that test, and the real waiting began. I checked all the time for updates, and finally, over Father's Day weekend this past June, I am notified and the results are in. Sure enough, I'm 55% Jewish. I went to the tree tab, and all my suspicions over the last 15 years were confirmed. The father that raised me was indeed not my biological father. I have some big feelings about it, but mainly I'm relieved and validated. I know it was never anything I could said or done to be treated differently. Really healed something in me. I didn't know I needed to be healed. Learned about some of my extended family members, only third and fourth cousins type thing, no one I've ever heard about or knew existed. But then I matched with a woman on the list as my grandma on my real dad's side. She's 99% Jewish, shares traits, extended family trees, and location with me. She is actually 45 minutes away from the area I live in, but her family tree is private. It says she has two sons, but again, it's all private. I can't see names, ages, nothing. Did my dad know for sure I wasn't his? And we've been living this lie my whole life? Does my extended family know? And have I been just lushy talked about? I've been battling this identity crisis feeling since June. Growing up thinking I'm one thing but actually something different, realizing my sister and I are half siblings, it is all so hard for me to wrap my head around. So the question is, do I confront my mother or start with her first, rather? There are obviously other things I need to work out with her regarding how I was raised, but the parentage specifically. I'm worried it will cause a huge rift in the entire family if I let the cat out of the bag. I have a daughter now, and I don't want it to affect the relationship with them or the relationship with my sister and my niece. I'm just sitting here trying to decide if it's worth it. Like, what would I get out of it if they were made aware of it? Would it change anything in how I feel? Sorry if this is long winded. I haven't talked to anyone except my husband, and I've used an outsider's perspective. Appreciate you taking the time to read the comment. Edit. Hello, all. I wasn't expecting such a significant amount of responses to this. I will continue to update you on this situation as I go through it, but all I want to note is a couple of things that seem to get buried in all of the comments. I do go and have been going to therapy for several years now to work through my childhood abuse and also my abusive relationship. I just found out less than 5 months ago, so I'm still processing things before I do anything rash. I do not regularly see my parents. I do not leave my children, nor does my sister leave hers with my parents alone. My mom was and still is a victim of his abuse, not so much physical, but financial, emotional, and psychological. It's really sad. He controls what she eats. They have separate bedrooms, and she has to hide snacks from him. Genuinely get Stockholm Syndrome vibes. She had a stroke a couple years ago, and it wasn't caught for days, and then was diagnosed with breast cancer last year. So there has been communications over the years regarding her health, and we have seen her out for meals and other random things. So maybe the fear of her possibly dying has encouraged me to be around her for a handful of times over the past 6 years. But I will not sit here and allow some of those to question my parenting and why I would leave my kids with them or bring them around and subject them to this sort of behavior. My children are my number one concern, first and foremost. I was a single mother for years after leaving my ex, who punched me in the face and did everything on my own. They did not see this happen. They weren't even home. I worked multiple jobs, busted my ass because I would never let them be around something or someone that could possibly hurt them for a gosh damn second. I then met my godsend husband, and he has since adopted my kids, and things have never been better. My kids are thriving, have never seen an ounce of abuse or fighting. They are in a great school district, top 10 in the state, in plenty of sports, who their cousins and aunts and uncles for dinner every other weekend. My sister and I have been in therapy, individually and joint, for a couple of years to undo the broken relationship we had. We were pinned against each other and manipulated a lot. So growing up, we weren't close, even though we were only 18 months apart. I think I'm craving a small sort of family that I've been chasing my whole life. My little sister does not know. I'm terrified that in her finding out, she's going to retreat away and not know how to have a relationship with me, and our kids are not allowed to see each other anymore. This has happened before. Her trauma response is to retreat and pull back. So when I'm scared about the relationship with my kids and family, they are my main concern. That and my mom dying alone because of her cancer. I think I'm going to reach out to the grandma that I matched with at first to make things more concrete, and maybe a couple cousins that she is mutual matches with. I'm also screenshotting things now because some have mentioned people will private their accounts and I could lose proof or facts later on. Thank you for all your concerns and kind words. Truly, I've questioned a lot my whole life, and for a bunch of strangers to validate me more than anyone else, besides my husband, has truly something out of this world. It might not change your feelings, but it's still good to get that out in the open with your parents. You can open conversation with your dad about what you saw, obvious differences in the ways you were treated. Start the conversation thanking him for stepping up to take care of you, a child he knew was not his. And talk to mom and give her a chance to have an honest discussion about who your bio dad is. You have the right to know. You can reach out to see if he even knew about you, wants to connect, and wants to share this with the rest of the family. Maybe keep this private with your sister. Don't know how close you are, but it might divide the two of you. I'm so sorry this is happening to you. This is a little off topic, but hopefully will make sense. I'm looking at all of your answers, and you seem to be taking responsibility for everyone else's feelings, reactions, in every response. You're afraid that your family will blow up. You're afraid that your relationship with your sister will suffer. You're afraid that your mama will have a crying fit. You seem very conditioned to take ownership of everyone else's feelings in this situation, and this is not your burden to bear. Regardless of how you were conceived, your mom, your dad punish you for her actions. I'm not victim blaming, but I mean her choice to have a child if she was assaulted and allow her husband to psychologically and emotionally abuse that child. Your dad gained some type of sick power by treating you different. You don't mention much about your sister, but she didn't stand up for you. Emphasize how you felt. Acknowledge what you went through. The realization that the whole childhood is a lie is a traumatic information that is difficult for you to process after already traumatic life. You owe it to yourself to do what you want for once, regardless of how others feel or react. If knowing the truth will help you process your childhood experiences and grief, then get the answers for yourself, and your family can rot if they try to make this about themselves. If you think knowing will change your personal feelings about everything, let it go. But either way, talk to your therapist about the need to untangle yourself from the feeling of responsibility for your family's perceived suffering from your abuse. Oh my goodness. Lord, girl, yes. Yes, you have to confront your mother. I have a friend who lived this out and found out her senior year that her dad wasn't her bio dad. It was one of the most selfish things that a parent could do to their kids is lie about their bio mom or dad or if they are adopted. You absolutely have to bring this up to your mom. Like last week. I don't know why you haven't yet. I wouldn't last 5 effing minutes. I know my friend sure didn't when she discovered what she did. And then you need to confront this terrible dad of yours. Tell him that you know and let him know that the way he been treating you growing up was not okay and absolute bullshit. For Christ's sake, stand up for yourself. This is effing huge. Get it. I am legit raging on your behalf right now. Like, I am seriously so furious. If you need someone to back you up when you confront, by all means reach out. I am seriously fuming over your situation. Last year, we found out our dad is not our grandfather's biological son. Never would have known from the way Grandpa treated him in a good old DNA test. Anyway, my elder sister remembers the fellow who apparently fathered our dad and said he gave her the creeps and that he was not a nice man. He visited our grandparents now and again, and sis said Grandma would not stick around the same room as him, was not pleased to see him in her home. Apparently, in the late 1920s, Grandpa worked for him for a while. Whatever the reason for him fathering a child with a married woman, all scenarios we have imagined are disturbing. Grandma is long gone, so there is no way we can get a semblance of truth regarding why. But his DNA line shows several other affair children while he himself was married. To get to the point, we cannot ask the dead for the truth. But your mom is still living. If there's a chance she was assaulted and you were a result, then it would be good to let you know before you consider finding your bios family. If your birth was a result of affair, would you be ruining any marriage by contacting him? You wouldn't know unless you asked. And some careful thought and empathetic consideration for your mom. You can try to have that conversation with her. I do hope you find the answers you feel you need. This is what I experienced growing up, except I knew the man that raised me wasn't my dad, so I guess good thing is at least I knew why. I was like you in the early years of my kid's life, wanting to have the sense of belonging I didn't get. Well, it worked for a bit. I figured my parents wouldn't other my kid like they did me. Any relationship is better than none. After some drama, I came to realize I was actually hurting my kid by in some way forcing it. Although they treat her better than me growing up, it was obvious that they favored my siblings' kids. Anytime we went to my parents, I always ended up at home in tears wondering what was wrong with me that they didn't include me. I initially tried to limit contact, but after a blow up because I was upset with my mom and I went full nuclear no contact. It's been over 10 years and I have limited contact with them again, and even that's fragile. Being excluded or feeling lesser than affects you by intentions, affects you in your home, even when you aren't around them. And then there's this. So you really want your kids to think you're lesser, or they are? because they're your kids? Is it better to have that family relationship regardless? As far as confronting your mom, I'd prepare for your mom cutting contact over it. You know your mom best, but would you believe any explanation she gives you? You sound like you doubt her being essayed, so I can't imagine what you would believe from her, so why confront her? Is this maybe your straw to take the step to cut contact? Hi there, genetic genealogist here. I highly recommend you process these questions in therapy first. Do I need to know how and why of this? If the answer is yes, you'll need to speak to your mom while you can. She's the only one that can give you that. Next, head over to Facebook and look for a group called DNA Detectives run by Cece Moore. She's the top genetic genealogist in this country. There are volunteers there called search angels, and they can help fill your family tree in your DNA matches with minimal contact from anyone. Ancestry doesn't label grandparents, so keep in mind that your person may be different relationship than you think. If you approach her convinced she's your grandmother, it could throw off your entire investigation. Just know that as soon as you start talking to people, this is no longer a secret, and the truth will come out eventually. You've already matched up with people to your mother's side. Anyone could go tell them in here and say, "Oh, so I saw Jane show up the matches on Ancestry. I didn't know Richard was Jewish." I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, and I've been doing this on a volunteer basis as a search angel for about 5 years now. Pandemic hobby. I found out the dad who raised me wasn't my biological father 2.5 years ago at the age of 44. I always had suspicions as I am the only redhead in the family of brunettes, but my mom always told me how crazy I was for questioning anything. She literally gaslit me my entire life, and I fell for it until a strange visit with my dad told me I needed to find out for myself. We aren't here to talk about me, but where you are. This is what I did. The first person I called and confronted when I got my DNA results back was my mom. Then my husband and I tracked down my real dad and reached out to him. After I spoke to him and confirmed this was true, I told my brother, close family members. My mom asked me not to tell anyone, but that wasn't going to happen. I needed to get it out and deal with it. My bio dad was super welcoming, connected with me with his 5 kids, my half siblings. His wife was even more amazing. And now, almost 3.5 years later, my kid's husband and I are totally integrated into my new family, and it is amazing. I decided about 2 months ago into this journey to forgive my mom and try to live the best life I could. This was really fucking hard. But she's an amazing grandmother to my kids, and although she did some really shady things, she's a good mom. There are some times I get angry out of nowhere and take a break from her. Usually only lasts about a week or so when I just need some space to sort through emotions. My husband has been amazing through this whole ordeal. He's supportive of my feelings, listens to me when I get angry and just need to vent. I still consider therapy, just haven't had time for it yet. This is your journey, and it's going to be an emotional one. Give yourself grace and allow the big feelings to surface, and don't forget to put yourself first. Good luck. Our family has gone through something similar, but it was my dad who was the love child. Fortunately or unfortunately, we found out this after all the players had passed. Having this knowledge now does explain how my father was treated growing up, which was not very kind. It didn't say whether things happened consensually or what. We will never know. On a side note, my SEIL found a full sister no one knew about until a couple of years ago. I don't know what to tell you, especially since it sounds like your father hasn't been nice to you, favoring your sister. I do think you knew he knew or had a pretty good idea you were his biological daughter. I do think you need to take your mother aside and have a very frank conversation with her. If she didn't know this would eventually come out, especially with all the genealogy services being so popular, she was naive. My takeaway in seeing the results and hearing the stories of others who find surprises in entertaining ancestry and 23andMe, etc., is that no one is perfect. The same mistakes have been made forever. It sounds like you have a husband and kids that love you and you love them. Keep focused on what matters. You can't change what happened, but I hope whatever comes out of your family can lead to peace and forgiveness. Be well. Yes, yes. Every so positive, but also it seems like this happens a lot. I actually know of people this happened to. So one of my best friends' mother was about 60 when she decided to take a DNA test, and she just wanted to see if she had any extended family in America. And when she took the DNA test, when the results finally came back, it was just a coincidence. They came back like 2 weeks after her mom passed. When she got the results back, it just genuinely said on there, like, this is your dad. And it was some random guy she's never heard of, didn't even see that happen. And here she is, 60 years old, tries to give herself with more family. And she did just that. After her mom passed, the dad who raised her passed as well. And she found out that her biological father was still alive and that she was interested in meeting up with him. So she contacted him and she went to go visit him. And he said he knew that was his daughter, and that because she grew up with a lot of siblings. I think there was like 9 of them. So he said her younger brother, who was born right after her, is also his, and that he knew that, and that he stopped the affair when the dad who raised her confronted him and said, "You need to leave my wife alone." So he was aware as well. It wasn't. Grew up in a small town in North Carolina, so apparently everybody knew except for them. They eventually did move to Greensboro, and that's where she was actually raised as a child. So it wasn't so much small town mind frame, but at the same time, um, it seemed like everybody already knew when she came out and told it, except for her siblings, and they didn't even believe her. But she had to show them the results, and so it was shocking to everybody. What made it more sad to her was she wanted like to confront her mom about it, but her mom had just recently passed, so it just opened up like another wound. It's actually very very sad. Another thing I remember is, and this is why it's really hard to be a man, is because a woman, we know is our baby. You know, we birthed that baby, but men don't. And I had another friend that I was really close with. This was more of my young adulthood, but he was raising his daughter till she was about 3 years old. And then out of nowhere, another guy came forward and said, I think that's my child. So they both took a DNA test. And it was not my friend's, it was the other guy's child. And it was crazy because this little girl looked just like him, had features just like him. Like, I knew, like, when he took the DNA test, like, okay, it's going to come back and say it's his. But it wasn't. And it broke his heart. It really did. Like, I seen him lose a little bit of himself. It made it also awkward because the mom wanted him to have no parts of her daughter's life. Like, you're not my child's father, get out of his life. And that was even harder because, he would have liked it to still maintain a relationship with her. He'd been there since day one, and she's 3 years old now. Yeah, it was so hard to see that, and it really gave me a different look and light, like a new light on it, what men really go through when it comes to this. Because, if you lay down with the wrong girl, hey, you don't know the results that's going to come out of it or who else she's sleeping with. But also, you know, SAs happen. They really do. And children result out of it. My youngest brother is from an R. And my mom decided to keep him. She's a Christian. She does not believe in abortion, and she raised him. She decided though never to tell him that that's how he was conceived. My brother's father is my mom's best friend's cousin. So when she had told her best friend that this happened, she said, okay, I believe you because he's also our other people in the family. So it was very believable. Plus, when the baby was born, he looks just like him. My mom, I'm not sure of this, and I don't think I'll ever understand it, but she let him have access to him. Like, my brother would go with him, for the weekends and family trips and things like that. And I'm not sure why she allowed that to happen, but it did. Anyways, my brother never knew, and they think that his dad didn't know either because he was an alcoholic and he was drunk as heck when it happened. So I think he thinks that they just did the due diligence and the baby resulted out of it. She decided not to tell him. I'm the only one that knows. I'm the only daughter. And I've kept it a secret because honestly, I don't feel like it's my place. But secondly, I don't want to ever tell my brother that because I don't know what it will do to him, and I do not want to destroy my brother on behalf of some words that I could have just kept to myself. So I do. But if you made it to the end, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good, blessed rest of your day and take care.